Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another Let's Play Disco Elysium. I'm Samuel.
And I was loving the electronic music. Let's get a little closer there.
Yep.
Come on, get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out.
It's safe to assume this is their leader, or at least he thinks he is.
Squeeze in.
Sorry, you barely have room for one.
You go ahead. I'm too old for this.
I'm actually not, he thinks. I just dislike delinquents.
I'm sure you will feel right at home. I have good words.
A pile of nasal sprays, brand named Nosifed Ultra.
Uh-oh.
Canisters filled with what appears to be water. The label says distilled. A speaker, the big kind that they use for live music.
You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in greeting.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
There is definitely something futuristic about his hair, aggressively so. You get the sense that this is what the future will look like. Imbecilic, yes, should the future ever come, it will look deeply imbecilic, like this guy.
I'm really glad I didn't make a reference to a person that I could have made just now. Shake his hand.
His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm. He's trying to project and inspire confidence.
This is my posse, Noid,
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
and Egghead. Egg!
The tape player high above his head continues to blast what is probably anecdotic music.
Together with a Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers.
Wait, how many music venues have you
We have
organized?
many in the pipeline, officer.
Why are you here?
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Also for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues.
Was there something you wanted? Your friend Asel said there was a problem with the church.
Ah, so you've met her. Good. Yeah, it's a matter of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the coast.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the church, and I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads. Burnouts.
He angrily spits on a screw, then starts cleaning it.
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that, in Reversholt.
Strike that. The word.
And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts holed up in there are the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad those dopeheads and burnouts really are. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
What kind?
The spooky kind.
What exactly do you mean by spooky?
I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge.
Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse. People just wanna spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that.
Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for.
I'll look into it. Tell me more.
All right, man.
He claps his hands enthusiastically.
Andre's obviously very happy you took him seriously. The whole tent is. The boys exchanged giddy looks.
Asel told me Noid put a padlock on the door. Why?
I did ask Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. It's a temporary fix, just something to contain the situation.
I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work, but it should hold for a while.
I need the key.
Of course. Noid, Give the officer the key.
All right.
The speed freak dips into his belt and produces a yellow key, then makes a sudden, cool, infused move, tossing it in your general direction. Ooh, okay.
Let's do it. I'm feeling lucky.
It's as if time is frozen somehow. You think you can sense the key moving in the air. Yeah, this is going to be way cool.
Don't ruin the cool by overdoing it. Raise your hand in front of your face with minimum effort.
Blam! Straight in the eye. Straight in the old eye orb. In the looking ball. A stabbing pain. Tears stream uncontrollably from your right eye.
Ouch! Ah, no. God. Okay.
Yeah, we'll just skip over that one.
Yeah. Ouch! What is wrong with you? Can't you see I'm in pain now?
Man, I'm super sorry. That was totally my bad. I got overexcited. Threw him too hard. I'm sorry.
He looks like he's genuinely sorry. He didn't throw them better.
I'm sorry, bend your face in mockery of his useless contribution. You almost murdered me, a cop. That's a use of lethal
I
force.
really am sorry, man.
Jeez.
Just take this, okay?
He pulls out some black paper from his belt pack.
Wow, looks like there's quite a lot there.
I don't need your pity money. Now, where were we?
The key?
He cautiously hands you the yellow key ring.
He is shifting in his spot, uncomfortably, still feeling sorry for the mishap.
We were talking about the padlock, I think.
How long have those people been locked in there?
Not long. Like a week, maybe?
What?
My God. How can you be sure they haven't starved to death?
I'm super sure they're alive. I mean, come on. I'm at least 90%, maybe 85% sure they're still alive.
Somewhere in the ruinous past that led you here, there was something called exams. You may have learned the term involuntary manslaughter there.
Andre, do you know what involuntary manslaughter means?
Yes, I do. I listen to Channel 8 all the time. I know about crime stuff, and I assure you, officer, this is not what's happening here. I'm at least 80% sure they're alive. I mean, come on. Most people aren't ever that alive in their entire lives.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. What does anything mean, really?
God, these kids.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like nonsense.
You're right. It is nonsense. Total garbage. I knew you'd see through it. You're one smart cop.
I get by. Now, where was I with that padlock?
He nods attentively, ready to answer the questions of one smart cop.
Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. Let's
Who
do it.
exactly are these people inside the church?
Truth is, I don't really know. None of us do. I don't even know how many there are. All we've seen are glimpses.
You haven't even seen them and you want the police involved?
Well, there's also the machinery.
This machinery is of the deeply mystical variety.
When I first scouted the place, back in February, it was abandoned, empty. Took some time getting the crew together. So about 2 weeks ago, we came here hoping to set the stuff up. Suddenly, there are all these strange machines lying around in there.
One of them has wires running into bowls of water. Wires into water. Never seen anything like it.
Andre, tell him about the feeling.
Oh, and it felt like there was something in there with us, watching us from the dark.
No, the other one.
Which other one? I'm not as in tune with my emotions as you are, Egg.
Felt like silence. Awful silence.
But you haven't physically seen anyone.
Not exactly. We've just seen someone who we think is a woman go in and out of the church. A couple of times. And we felt someone or something eyeing us inside. But that's kinda it.
Was that about something watching you?
Like you aren't alone, you know?
It wasn't quite human, if you know what I mean.
Not human, as in a ghost. Do you know what he means?
It was this dark shape climbing upside down along the ceiling.
Ah,
like some
God
kind of
almighty.
crab man.
A crab man?
Yeah, you know, the way it was climbing up and around the ceiling. Like a crab.
It was stalking a cell, exhibiting ambush behavior.
Odd. Crabs are usually marine creatures. and not known for climbing walls.
Are you sure there was a crab man?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I didn't personally see it. Estelle was alone that time, but I believe her. If she comes out running and says there's a crab in there, there's a crab in there.
You should ask her about it, but be nice. Don't tell her you don't believe in the crab.
The implications of this are too numerous to consider. Proceed with caution. Learn all you can before entering that dark building. There probably is no crab man. Don't let them draw you in with this nonsense.
Can you tell me more about this machinery?
You should talk to Noid about that. I just got a distinct burnout and dopehead sign from them. Probably jacked up to some snuff station too. Probably, very likely.
So how can you be sure that they're they're burnouts and dope heads if you haven't even seen them?
Well, honestly, I can't. But I am.
This is a below-feeble attempt at avoidance. Basically, he is attempting to weaponize idiocy.
Wow, you can't, but you do. I should add weaponized idiocy to my own repertoire.
Hey now, I'm 70% sure they're substance abusers.
Boy, that number went down.
Well,
Don't
no,
let
it
all
was
that
from
technology
living it and now
fool
they're
you.
substance
Where do you
abusers.
think the drugs come from? Sure. What?
You mentioned some kind of Ecclesiastes own the church. Who are these Ecclesiastes?
Oh yeah, that's a meteor and name for the founding party. Thought it'd be cool to use it.
If you don't know what the founding party is, there might be a way to mask it with minor demagoguery.
Now humor me, Andre. What is the founding party?
Come to think of it, I've never really looked them up, you know. I can't give you a precise definition, but they're a very powerful religious organization.
And?
And they have roots in ancient mass society. And they're the custodians of the Pericarnassian church. Plus, they anoint the innocents. They, like, made the innocentic system, no?
Now, Andre, in your opinion, would this ancient religious organization who anoints the innocents want a club for anecdotic music in one of their churches?
Totally.
There isn't a trace of doubt in his voice.
The Pericarnassian church is about love. And Nordic music is about love. I got love for my Pericarnassian posse. Love is the relay out of death. We dance.
He violently shakes the tape player as if to see if he can break it.
Love is hardcore.
Unity!
Unity!
Make some noise for my Insulindian posse.
He turns the volume up, then looks at you with a knowing nod as if it's obvious you will now break into dance.
You feel it. The anodes and the cathodes coursing through you. Your big toe starts tapping along to the base, as if testing the waters.
Yeah, that one feels fine.
I guess love can
It's-
be pretty hardcore.
Oh yeah, it can.
He's coming around. You're getting it.
I mean, do we want to humor them on number one? I mean, given our face, given our appearance, given how crazy that we've been acting, number one kind of feels in character almost.
It does. No words, enjoy the beat.
Feels good.
Oh my god, I can't look at him.
He is, he's getting there.
Okay.
I know. So, do we accept it or do we just tell him that this is stupid? That's essentially our two options.
We really need to unlock the thing. So if we say no, does that mean...
They gave us the key.
I know, but are they going to take it back? Does that preclude us from investigating this?
I now understand it was lame of me to suggest otherwise. Anecdotic music is about love, and so is the Pericarnassian church.
Yeah! Yakokata, the place to be.
He seems ecstatic that you share his vision of Pericarnassianism.
Do it for the masses! Do it for the crew!
His friend forms a fist with a screwdriver still in his hand, approvingly so.
I didn't want to say it, but it was pretty lame of you to imply otherwise. Anyway, you got more questions?
The one with the large head is still looking at you, nodding his head. waiting for your body to start moving.
Yeah! Let it out! Let the disco happen! Bring the disco into this world! Get this church shit on, and then dance there, motherfucker!
You feel like you could go for a little disco when, or if, they get this club going. You've got it in you.
I wanted to ask you about this tent full of equipment.
Yes. What?
I see you brought your own water.
Yeah. Good to have, bitch to carry. When I first scouted the place, I did some reconnaissance. I'm not sure the church even has running water.
And it's distilled, too.
Oh,
He doesn't know what to say.
it's the one they sell at the fuel station.
It's like he's lying to you, my liege. But he's slippery enough that there's nothing for you to grab hold of.
What's with all the Nosafed?
The what now?
Point to the bottles of nasal spray in the corner. The Nosafed Ultra. You have a lot of it lying around.
Oh, the old Ultra. We,
He's like an
Oh.
actor looking to the souffleur for his line.
I have a major sinus infection. Stuffy nose. We all do. Shit's all blasted up. Winter. Can't even breathe.
You sound fine to me.
Yes, that's all Nosafed's doing. Without the Nosa, I'd be drowning in shit right now.
Ah, God.
Nosafed is the shit.
Good. Now on to the next thing.
Yes.
Like we
What?
know. All right, enough of
He
this.
nods enthusiastically, no doubt a little relieved.
Yeah, this is a godly one. There's no... We're not able to get this.
As always, we'll be right here, waiting patiently for the news. Yeah.
So essentially, they want to turn the
So you had a
drug
talk with
into a
Andre,
meth
and
lab,
now you wanna
or
discuss
I'm sorry,
it
the
with
church
Lloyd.
into a meth lab.
Good.
No, it's just that they're using the nasal spray just to get high. That's all. They're not... I don't think this is a front for anything. They legitimately want to turn this into a dance club. It's just that the nasal spray is also them getting high because that's the only way they can do it. So,
Yeah, but distilled water versus mineral water or regular water?
it's possible. We'll see.
It's good you talked to Andre first. Gave me time to get a reading on your sign. Can't really talk to people before you get a reading.
He runs a hand through his hair, which is combed back in mock seriousness, and continues to fiddle with some gears. Sign?
Yeah, gotta compare. See if we can align.
Interesting.
I suck at socialising, man. Even now, our sign synchronisation is way off. But I'll see what I can do.
He continues to rearrange his tools. I saw a sticker on the padlock. Can you tell me anything about it?
A sticker? You mean the yellow one? Can you describe it to me?
Interesting. He wants you to describe it, though he already knows what it looks like.
It's this one. Are you familiar with it?
Seems like my creation has found its way into the legal bureaucracy. What did you want to ask about it?
What's it supposed to be?
The dead guy smiling.
And what does it mean? Why is the dead guy smiling?
He defeated history. We are living in the age of history, and in the eyes of history, we are always already dead. How can we ever smile then? Because history is a lie, and so are its deaths. The present moment and life are the hardcore. The hardcore expels death. Or maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's just really ecstatic about the beats.
What makes the sticker so modern?
Simplicity was brought to us by a classical soul artist modernism, but that was a tasteful, harmonious simplicity, right? Well, hardcore is not tasteful or outwardly harmonious. It's a warning shot. This will be dangerous. The echo of man's loss, haunting him. The sticker, the clothes, the music, same thing.
You come up with this stuff by yourself?
Not alone. Many people are thinking the same thing right now. There's a gathering at the Elysium. The beat is the same for all.
I think we've exhausted the subject for now.
I guess one could write an entire treatise on the thing. But what for?
Tell me about the machines you saw in the church.
Weird stuff. Specialised. There was a data processor and some sort of long-wave machinery.
Yep. It's slowly becoming I know who's in that church.
Wires going into water. Gives off a spy sign. Or some fucked up Samaran science sign. You know, the kind that goes head first into the supernatural.
The People's Republic of Samara is a product of Revachel's sister revolution on the Grand Isola. It's known as a severely degenerated rogue state.
What's wrong with the supernatural?
Nothing's wrong with it. You should definitely be researched. You can still do sick shit with it though.
The sickest. That's perhaps why it should be researched.
The supernatural. So you think it's real, that it actually exists?
Most of it doesn't exist. But there's also stuff that isn't allowed to exist. Because the moralists think it's too dangerous for the plebs. Psionic powers, pale-related diseases, pretenders pretending to be human, folk rights, that kind of stuff.
Why are you called Noid?
The hardcore aesthetic is esoteric. It's not meant to be discussed with the law at this moment.
He picks up some sort of widget.
It's not easy to reach a harmonic resonance of signs without some adjustment.
Does this mean we need sign matching?
Yes, further sign matching would do good for us. One way to achieve this would be by getting us into the church.
Okay, maybe I'll come back later.
A young man with peroxide blonde hair holds up a Harman Walshi tape player, nodding along to the music. He looks at you with a knowing smile and says, as though you're supposed to be sharing some tremendous evangelical secrets.
Hardcore!
Is it?
It's hardcore!
You're just gonna keep saying it's hardcore, aren't you?
Skibber-dee, skibber-danger. I am the rearranger.
Your cop training did not prepare you for this. What to do? Could there have been a right way out of this garden of forking paths, you think? The young man with the tape recorder acknowledges your return. When he looks at you, he squints as though you were the setting sun.
This is hardcore.
Say nothing.
Hardcore!
Still say nothing.
Hardcore to the mega.
Say nothing.
Internally coherent.
Still say nothing.
All car! All right! Yeah!
He furrows his brow as his very large head traces the sublime invisible movement of the music in the very real air of the stuffy tent.
Hardcore! Ah!
So hardcore.
Is it though?
He stops dead in his tracks, tilting his head. I was just thinking that a moment ago.
One mind, one spirit. There's no other world. There's no other life.
Okay, that's...
A treacherous dialogue tree.
Yes. I don't even know if there's a right way to go through that. Okay, so...
Wait a minute. Did we spend... How much time were we in that tent?
A while.
We solved an entire murder in less time than we spent in that tent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you are honestly thinking they're not going to be cooking meth in this church.
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood.
Open the padlock with the key.
The lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open.
Let's go.
Pull on the doors.
As you do, you hear the echo of the doomed commercial area, its black holes and dusty machines. Then the feeling passes. A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum. In the heart of the city,
Interesting place. Strange stillness fills as you look ahead. You should walk here, not run. This grotesque wooden figure looks half finished. Feels like it's trying to become one with the church. The figure was added later. It's not part of the original church. More of the forked lighting pattern you saw outside. Bark beetles? No, it looks intentional. Some long-forgotten style. The blackboard is filled with complex equations. They look recent.
Wait a minute.
Oh my god. Are those
these
what I
the-
think they are? The bowl is filled with water. A live wire runs directly into it. Oh, that feels like some kind of really twisted trap.
Wait, is it a trap or is this... Wait, was that open the entire time? Do we not need the key?
2 decks of reel-to-reel tapes spinning on empty. A portable Harman Washi tape recorder. Is it possible it's recording something? Oh, it's a radio. It's one of those cube computers like we found in the other place.
A machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on.
He seems cautious around the machine.
These machines sometimes harbor traps, he thinks. Alarm systems and the like. Let's be careful.
We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case.
I'm curious. Yeah.
Wait, let me just investigate it.
You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment is wide open. The lieutenant says nothing.
Look
You
inside.
see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from his diamond-shaped glasses. You're free to proceed.
Look inside the compartment.
Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says, in black marker, log, February to March.
Press play.
The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident on Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
It's the same old woman you spoke with through the radio computer in the doomed commercial area.
I looked inside the core, but the tape on the filament just said log.
Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer.
Received. I will register this login attempt.
That sounds bad. A login attempt. Something a criminal would do.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Goodbye, Fortress accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated.
Well, yeah, print. We probably won't.
In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad. A dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. You. No, she doesn't care about you. She only cares about her shiny sovereign's orb and her silk robes and getting to the aerodrome on time. To leave.
It's compassion.
As that soft word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder.
Do the same as you get up.
Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass.
This is Dolores Day.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the Delorean Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small Pinewood Church in some records.
You knew of the place?
It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
What else do you know?
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them. The 7 Sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
He looks at the machinery lying around.
Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of DeLoreanism? There it is again. A small pang of guilt. It's time to ask him what happened here.
Do you know why it was abandoned?
I have a theory, yes. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shot to pieces. The old woman in the village was being tactful with us when she didn't mention it. She has more respect for the RCM than many around here.
Who conducted the raid?
Well, your station was involved, I hear. Although I can't be sure.
How come the lieutenant isn't sure? Is this confidential information?
You're not sure.
3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them.
I don't remember being here.
I am pretty sure it was a clandestine operation. I don't know anything more about it, why it was conducted, or who participated. I try not to pry into extra-district matters.
If I was here, I should find out what I was doing.
Good luck. You will not get information on a confidential operation from your station secretary just by calling. If you really don't remember, it might be better to keep this one forgotten. It happened a while ago. It's unimportant to our business in Martinez now.
How did I know this is the mother of humanism?
Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is Her Innocence, Dolores Day. The innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men.
Wait, what exactly is an innocence?
The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world's spirit.
A ruler?
More, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate inauthentic rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office.
Is one in office now?
No, we are alone.
Okay, when she ruled.
300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi, she is, among other things, the innocence of inter-isolary travel and the connected world.
What else do I know about her?
Many things. You know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene La Navigateur, Queen of Suresnes, modern-day Sir La Clé, Also, that she was gorgeous beyond beauty, draped in ancient sadness. Are you sure you want to remember this bit of historic trivia? Standing under a long, slender form like this, dwarfed?
Yes! Big bummer! Boring history! Gotta keep it light, man! Keep it moving! Get fucked up instead!
Okay, what
Necktie
else?
is wonderful.
Yep. Okay, what else? Was she smart?
Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state. A scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous.
How come?
It was on her advice that Irene Le Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale. A costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history. The DeLorean era.
Wow.
Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest.
Ah, hence that part. Gotcha.
Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt.
I want more.
As did we all. The lands of the Mesk and the Occident, and even faraway Supreme Windy. Altogether, 21 of the 40 mundial nations of the time immediately accepted Innocentic rule, even before her crowning.
Her crowning?
In a city called Advesperaskit in Vespa Messina, her homeland, the name of the city means evening comes, but it happened on a winter's morning, with the canals frozen and slush falling out of the sky. She was dressed in a white and pearl dress on an emptied-out plaza with the crowd far away. Already, her Theriers, the secret servicemen of the Innocents, were worried about an assassination attempt.
She must have been beautiful.
Oh yes, she looked like humanity's young mother, a perfect mother, insultingly beautiful. It was as if her face and shoulders and hands were covered in a soft down of underfeathers. You know this well, very well. Midwinter snow was beating the cobblestones around her. A small attaché of officials stood by as her Theriers placed a white gold wreath on her head. The crowning was mostly witnessed by Secret Servicemen.
Then what?
One of the men in this Secret Service killed her 22 years later. A young man who had come to suspect that Dolores Day was not entirely human, but something else.
What?
Something that had walked in our midst, watching us stumble for hundreds, if not thousands of years, until it decided to interfere in the course of our history. We were supposed to come up with this ourselves. The man was reported to have screamed at the Innocents. Dolores Day was shot in the chest with a fowling piece 8 times. The man, thought to be insane, said he once touched her and her body had been unnaturally warm, like a furnace, and that sometimes, while on duty, he observed her forgetting to breathe for over 10 minutes. This inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well, glowing lungs and all. It is commonly attributed to mass hysteria and religious psychology.
Was there something terrifying about her?
Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But terrifying, it's a simple word. She was bad for humanity, and you shouldn't have started thinking about her.
No, there was something bad about her. I want to know.
You already do. Although she is often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Day. Constantly surrounded by her terriers, she was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs.
What happened?
The Mesk state tried to detach itself from Innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity, suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacentic, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her. This subtle terror is part of her iconography.
Lieutenant Yefrater, you've stood there for over 5 minutes.
Lieutenant's calm voice echoes in the cold air of the church.
What are you thinking of, if I may ask?
Yeah, war criminal, that's hilarious.
Before making a selection, I just want to say the use of lungs to illustrate love or compassion, it reminds me of a spoken word poetry, and it had a line in there, while we cannot say it exactly, but
Right.
the guy steps back, yells out as loud as he can, "I F like a hurricane." Anyway, I'll send it to you later. It's absolutely wonderful.
That vaguely scratches an itch. I might have heard that one. Anyway, she's beautiful.
That she is. A great sacred piece. I wonder what we are doing here, however. In this church, I mean. The coast in general. We shouldn't linger. This isn't a good place to get lost in.
Well, you know what we have to do. This is our brain.
Absolutely.
A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you, a ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one, and a text, a light motif below them both.
Who shattered this mosaic? Or what shattered it?
Unknown. Something during the raid the lieutenant mentioned, or just hooligans looking for something to break.
Who is this older woman?
The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden rights apfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence Day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, farriers, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail.
The motto, what does it say?
Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then, along the left side, Après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau. After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great leitmotif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this isola, the Insulindian, on human thinking. A tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death.
Lieutenant, this used to say afterlife, death, after.
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however.
Why?
It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing.
What is the RCM motto now?
Justice, union, prudence, and force.
I like the other one better.
So do I.
The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression.
Kim, are you a follower of Dolorianism?
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are Dolorian in origin.
The woman looks by in silence, smiling enigmatically.
I didn't think you were spiritual.
It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The Dolorian system does not demand faith, only accordance.
I do not want to do anything with walking in the middle of this place. The spider has spun its web around this wood-carved pillar. That is ominous.
At least it's not a ghost spider.
A cracked pane of glass. Colorful. It came from the stained glass window. Still has letters on it, too. Mass Banger Skull Starf. +1 pain threshold. Huh. Pretty sure I can put that on, too. Frost has drawn flowers on the glass, obscuring the view. A figure drawn in frost on the window depicting a deer.
The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent.
Wait, I think I still hear something.
And then it's gone. Almost all of it. But for the faintest of hums, you can hardly hear your own breathing.
Yell as loud as you can.
Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl, but the softest of whimpers. It's unnerving.
Stomp your feet and clap your hands.
You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total, somehow.
Turn to Kim. What's happening?
The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head. Then he leans closer.
Can you hear anything?
Almost nothing, and it's beginning to worry me.
The church just has strange acoustics, some engineering trick.
His detached tone conceals how uncomfortable he is. Maybe the church was designed this way to prevent boisterous activity, singing and dancing on its premises.
Let's say 4.
Agreed.
Because this is a modern setup. I don't think this was built as part of the church, right? So,
Agreed.
whatever it is, it's definitely real. Something odd is happening around
The
us.
lieutenant doesn't reply, but you can sense him tense up next to you.
Look up into the bell tower.
The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead.
We got an even shot at this.
Let's do it. I'm feeling lucky.
Dang
Oh
it.
crap.
Just darkness without end. It makes your head spin.
What's the darkness like?
Filled with vague shapes of woodwork. The sense of a great height.
Try to make out something. Anything.
There's nothing. You're dizzy and disoriented as you see dark and more dark rising.
Officer, what are you looking at?
He follows your gaze, attempting to see whatever it is you're seeing. Blink. Oh my
You
god.
see something
hello.
hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk to it.
This has taken a turn.
Is that a man? Looks more like part of the carpentry of the building came alive and is now studying you intently. The Crab Man.
Hey, who's there?
The man leaned forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, then speaks.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry. Everything's gonna be all right. You come to the right place.
This is totally not the tone I was expecting.
That accent is Villalobos, a peninsula in Mesk and a district in Jamrock. There's a sizable contingent of Villalobos-speaking Mesks in Revachol.
The right place for what?
Here you can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
I'm put off by this religious stuff, he thinks. And maybe the ceiling climbing, too. It's all very hard to square with the lieutenant's own view of reality. Hey, and what was that about the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
I'm a policeman. I need to talk to you about police things. I don't know anything about alcohol use.
Oh, yeah, sure. You don't know anything about alcohol use. You got it all under control, Way. I could smell the control all the way over here.
Yeah, I was leaning toward number 2.
Okay, fine. I'm struggling, but you don't need to lecture me. I know what I need to do.
Not all of it. I was like you once. You don't know all the havoc Albino is wrecking on your mind and your spirit. Necesita
Helvino.
parar, homie.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
Oh, just a tie. I mean, number 2. We've got to, right?
I mean, that's a smidge hostile, and I feel like if we go any at this guy, it's gonna
Probably preclude it, but we do potentially miss a necktie moment.
well, but
Yeah, it's worth missing it.
yep. For some reason, I feel like you have a point there.
Don't trust me. Trust the mother. I'm only the messenger, Holmes.
His voice echoes in the cold air of the church.
This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
He sways gently on the beams, waiting for you to take it all in.
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game? Whatever it is, he's quite confident about it. Just look how gracefully he sways. 'Tis not an act, my liege. Save him perchance, he hath deceived his very self. This man is a zealot.
You must be the crab man.
Never known myself to be a crab. But if that's the name you got for me, I won't stop you from using it.
Hey, it's your neighbors who came up with the name, not me.
I always thought of myself more like a flame flickering along the rafters and beams. It may be that I gotta work on my technique.
What were you before you became a crab man?
I was in a gangway, but my memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone.
I lost my memory too, but I like it. It's like I get to create a whole new me, start again from scratch.
And not the most healthiest of responses, but yeah.
That's not really the point, I say. You gotta give yourself over to service. Service of the mother, that is.
Do you remember your name, sir?
The lieutenant is not particularly interested in this information. He's just trying to assert some control over the conversation.
Tiago's my name, but those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity, but also, so to speak, your place amongst your fellows, your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore.
My name's Harrier Dubois, and my name in the world is Lieutenant W. Ferrier.
That's just the thing, Holmes. None of that matters.
He sounds melancholy saying this, his limbs a mere shadow below the ceiling. Do you know where the other spooker is? Point at the strange machines around you.
Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes.
Viejita is grandma?
Wait, so there is another person living in the church and it's a viejita?
No. I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear.
And you don't know where she is?
That's what I said, Holmes.
How can you not know that when you both live here?
Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests.
So you've got nothing else to tell me? How she looks, what she does, who is she?
I'm afraid not, Esse. You just have to wait until she comes back, or...
He shrugs.
Or search through her radio computer.
Haven't by chance heard the viejita say the password to her radio computer?
Too many times, Esse. You need it for something.
Surveys are a good way to fish for personal information, especially in the name of public safety.
I don't know if he's gonna fall for that.
3 maybe, though. Like, flat out just tell him what's going on. Be truthful.
Is Kim gonna interject and is like, no, it's not actually part of the investigation?
I have a feeling that this is one of the people that one of the mercenaries there. I finally got the word out. And if she is one of the mercenaries, this is part of the investigation.
Oh, I gotcha. I'm with you now.
Yes, it's for first-degree murder investigation in Martinez.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrow, but doesn't say anything.
I don't think he's connected what I think it is, so...
Don't sweat it, vato. The password is afterlife death.
That is true. But what comes after death?
What you think of that? Makes me almost pity la niñita pequeña when I hear it.
What are you doing here?
This is a special place. There's a perforation in the world up there. A way out into nothingness. This church was built around it. For purposes of veneration. I circled it. Nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly.
This mother of silence, you mean her? Point to the window.
No. There's a new god in town. And she can be painted or sculpted. because she has no limb or even a face. She is the end. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes, and no one ever will.
Well, we'll find out about the rest of this next time. If you guys want to find out all of our other Let's Plays, head on over to tscn.tv/play. And until next time, play on and see you guys.
Later.
This has been a production of the Samcast Network, tscn.tv. What's your passion?